Happy Monday, everyone. On today's show, we've got some interesting information and possible leaks regarding the big Friday release of Starfield coming up later in the week. In addition, today, I want to talk statistics, both in life in general, video games, and more. All this and more topics as well on today's Level 1 podcast. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Welcome to a fun full week of gameplay streaming starting today. I know that this weekend we actually had quite a lot of Say hello, Jasper. I know we had quite a lot of reacting content with my 15th anniversary marathon, and then yesterday the DSP versus the Internet weekly clip show. As of today, we are heading back into normalcy when it comes to the amount of gaming content that I'll be putting out. So prepare your butts for non-stop gaming fun here on the channel, of course, outside of the podcast, which we do every single morning. Today is August 28th, 2023. We're in the home stretch of the summer. Before you know it, it will be autumn, and things will be getting cooler, leaves will be falling, people will be drinking pumpkin spice everything, and Halloween. Even though it's only going to be September, Halloween, because that's just how it is. People want to rush into the holidays, right? And I'm ready. I am fully ready. Today, we have cooler temperatures. We have a cloudy sky and some moisture outside for the first time in ages. It's very nice, and from what we're looking at here in Washington State where I live, this weather is going to persist for a week or more. It looks like we're heading fully into September with cooler weather, which is exactly what you expect, right? So I am ready. I don't know about you guys. And of course, this means that we are heading into the home stretch of various games and gameplay content before all the giant new releases start hitting, notably this Friday with Starfield. So I hope that you guys are excited for all of that. On today's show, what I'd like to do is briefly recap what we've been up to recently, talk a little bit, obviously, about the schedule coming up this week. I want to talk about Starfield because there's been some interesting developments going on right now. The game fully leaking. Like we didn't know that was going to happen. But someone actually trying to illegally sell the game and getting arrested for it, which is great that something like this is finally happening and people are being held accountable. In addition to that, just information about the game leaking a bit. And don't worry, because when we have that segment, I will actually kind of label it as minor spoilers. It will not be any story spoilers or anything major because I don't want to spoil myself on the game either. But some interesting information has gotten out that I'd like to discuss here on today's stream because some people might actually have issue with it or want to have an open discussion about it. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. Jasper, could you please not chew that wire? That's my headphone wire. Thank you. And so we're going to talk about that. Now, in addition, all right, one thing that I would like to talk about today is statistics. And notably, the reason that this topic is coming up is because yesterday on my React show, DSP versus the Internet, which airs over on my sister channel, DSP Reacts, here on YouTube, there was a video that we watched that discussed improbable statistics, okay? So, for example, what's the probability that this would actually happen to you, okay? And as we were watching the video, I was pretty critical about it, all right? And some people were like, man, it's just statistics is not very interesting. Other people were like, well, you're kind of being too hard on the video. The person who actually had nominated the video contacted me to explain a little bit more about it. And I think what I'd like to do in general is have a discussion about statistics today. Now, don't worry, it's not going to be boring because I'm going to apply it to things that we talk about all the time. For example, whenever a game publisher references sales numbers for their game, are you aware that they are citing a generalized number without any context? For example, they very well could be including data that normally is something you wouldn't even consider a game sale, but they count it. And so when you hear those numbers, that this is the best-selling game of this year, this is the best-selling game on Steam, this is the best-selling game ever for this console, what you don't realize is that a lot of the time that is all PR nonsense. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that today, okay? All right, so we're going to have an interesting and fun podcast today. Keep in mind that later on, after the podcast ends, we've got a nice, hearty gameplay stream of Grand Theft Auto 5, the anniversary run, slated for this stream, as we head into the end game. Now, my original playthrough of GTA 5 10 years ago was around 33 hours long, okay? As of today, my playthrough of Grand Theft Auto 5 is 32 hours long. So does that mean that we're beating the game today? No, because you got to remember various different things about my style of content creation 10 years ago versus today. First of all, 10 years ago, it was just me playing the game. There was no live stream interaction whatsoever. So there was no discussion, there was no input. It was just streamlined, okay? So I was a lot of times rushing through games and completely skipping entire segments of content, or simply put, playing it for myself rather than playing it for an audience. I know for a fact during this playthrough, we have done many things that we never did in the original run. Trevor's delivery missions, Franklin's drug running missions, and other various things. You know, we completely skipped all of those. And that's added hours of gameplay into this playthrough for sure. From what the game is saying, we are at 54 out of 69 story missions. However, I don't really remember the ending missions and how long they take. I almost remember being in the same situation when I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 10 years ago, where I'd been playing it for like a week or two and was kind of like, all right, I'm ready to move on. But we never knew when the game was going to end. And therefore, it was hard to judge, you know, how much progress I was making each session and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like 10 years later, we're in the same exact situation. I really don't know how much is left in the game. But the thing is, we're not necessarily in a big rush. We can easily balance GTA 5 with the other stuff that we're doing over the next couple of weeks. It's really not until mid-September that we're going to have a lot of games coming out at once, like Lies of P and Mortal Kombat 1, and juggling that with Starfield. Then it would be an issue if we're still playing it at that point, which I hope we wouldn't be. So we'll see. But that's what's on the agenda for today's schedule, okay? Before we get to the schedule for the rest of the week, I think what we should do is talk a little bit about how yesterday went, just so you guys know what to expect. And we'll talk about the schedule, you know, moving on. And then I think, like I said, the game news today would be about Starfield and some of its information and leaks, and this person who's tried to steal the game and sell it and stuff like that. And then we'll get into that statistic discussion. And then if there's time, you know, we'll do Q&A and shout-outs and all of that at the end. All right? So please support the stream today if you can. As simple as a like is a great way to help. If you're enjoying the show, please like the stream. Outside of that, any method of contribution is a great level of support. I don't have any product placements. I don't run advertisements live during the content that I do. Because of that, I'm reliant on crowdfunding. And you guys allow me to do what I love for a living, and I really appreciate that. So if you consider a super chat or a super sticker or a membership or a gifted membership for the community, which absolutely would be great right now because of all the new games coming out, I'm sure people in the community would enjoy having a gifted membership. In fact, I forgot to set up our members goal for the day, which I hope we can hit 540 members by the end of today's both streams, okay? Or a tip. Tips today would be absolutely great. Tips have been very slow the last day, so it would be great to pick up on that as well. Tips are a great way to help because I get them right away. I get a bigger portion of tips than other contribution methods, and right now with a lot of the cost coming up of some of the things I'll be buying, it would definitely help out, so please consider tipping, all right? All right, plugs out of the way. Let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday we had what I consider, all right, to be one of the best React sessions I've done. Yesterday on DSP versus the Internet, we had the most members ever on DSP Reacts. We had started the day with over 140 members. We ended with over 150, all right? Because we had so many members, we had what I believe is the biggest variety of videos I've ever seen on the show. This was episode 28 for some perspective. We've been doing this all the way back since February of this year, and I really feel like this was the biggest amount of variety. It wasn't like 10 of the same kind of video. It wasn't returning videos that we had already seen the likes of. It was a big variety of stuff. Documentaries, comedy videos, food commentaries, comparing products from different countries, talking about, you know, what it was like to be a pro wrestler, talking about, well, actually, someone driving around playing the Grand Theft Auto theme on a bike as they were driving around, parodies of cartoons. It was just like so much variety. Really, it was just so much going on. Game discussions. They were talking about Baldur's Gate 3 and stuff like that. So it was great. And the thing is, I really hope we can keep that momentum up, because if we can keep that variety every week, definitely the React Show would be one of my favorite things that I would do every single week with you guys. All right? I'll be honest. When I started the show earlier this year, I liked it a lot. And then I'll say probably about 3-4 months ago, it got a little stale because we kind of were seeing the same kind of stuff every week. But now it's actually picked up significantly. It's what I've been telling you guys, is the more members we get on that channel and the more people nominating videos, the better that show is going to be. Because the more eyeballs we have, the more ideas we have, looking at the videos, working on the videos, submitting the videos, the show will be better. That's how shows like that work, right? Why do you think with other YouTubers, all that content is always like posted up on a Discord or forums? That's how it works. So for me, this is exactly how the show gets better. So thank you to those who are members. Thanks to those who have gifted memberships over there. If we can maintain the level that we have right now, that show will be good every single week. So already I can tell you 2 parts were live. Another part went live this morning, just like an hour ago. And there'll be 3 more parts of that show going live on that channel over the course of the week. Okay? So I certainly hope that you guys will continue to check out the content over there. And please, if you like that React content, support it by either becoming a member, gifting a membership. Perhaps you'd like to consider a super thanks on a video that's eligible, which is almost none because most of them get claimed. Or maybe a tip. A tip on today's stream literally supports everything I do. All right? The thing is, over there, I don't make any revenue on those videos. They almost all either get claimed or demonetized. Out of the 6 videos I uploaded yesterday, 1 outright was blocked for copyright. 3 were marked as add-on friendly. Add-on friendly. Did you watch the React Show yesterday? There was no excessive violence. There was no sexual content, no swearing, but YouTube thinks it's add-on friendly. You tell me. I have no idea why YouTube flags this stuff. So I don't make money on that. All right? It would be great if you could support in another way, because that's what makes that channel viable to run. Overall, it has been good. I certainly wouldn't keep doing it the capacity I'm doing it once a week. This React Show, long-form React events like the Machinima event or the anniversary event, I never would be doing those if they weren't viable. They are. But obviously, yes, your help is always greatly, greatly appreciated on anything I do on that channel, because it's not like this channel where I have the opportunity to make any kind of revenue on just a view, okay? So cheers to that. Thanks to anyone who checks out the stuff over there or supports it in any way. Last night we played Chrono Trigger right here on DSPGaming. Great stream. Huge story developments. Freed the Guru of Life, had a big revelation about his identity. Took on the Kingdom of Zeal. Huge boss fights, giant dungeons, big repercussions for the timeline. And we ended the stream at a really cool part. I won't spoil for those of you who have never played Chrono Trigger before, but something really cool is about to happen in the game. One of the best parts of the game, in my opinion. And I can't wait to play it again on Tuesday night and pick up where we left off. So that was a great, chill fun. And again, to anyone who attended that stream last night, thank you as well. What I will say is this. Overall, yesterday, it was a great day for members. There was a bunch of gifted memberships on DSPGaming, which was amazing. Outside of that, though, it was a pretty dead day for support. Now, Saturday was an amazing day for support. It was my anniversary event. So I'm certainly not going to sit here and complain. I'm just saying I hope it evens out. I hope that today we're back to business, full-time gaming. GTA 5 has been a favorite of the viewers. Street Fighter has been a mainstay since June that people have enjoyed. I hope that you'll consider supporting the channel and the streams today. Again, in any way that you can. As simple as a like or anything going above and beyond. Greatly appreciated. And it would be great to have a solid day. Particularly maybe hitting some tip skulls today would be great, because we didn't hit any yesterday. Okay? Fair enough. What are we doing today? We already mentioned we're continuing on with Grand Theft Auto 5. Mostly just story-based content is left in the game, although I think there are just a few little side missions left here or there, strangers and freaks and stuff. I don't think we're going to be doing them all. We're probably not going to do the Epsilon missions because I don't feel like running around finding cars. I don't have a strategy guide in front of me to do it, and quite frankly, I don't think it's going to be too fun for you guys to be watching me do that. You're going to probably be bored, right? So we're just going to continue on with the story. If there is a few odds and ends and things that open up in the map, I will do them. But we'll see, you know, what we come across today and try to make as good progress as we can. On the late stream tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, it is the continuation of my ranked climb in Street Fighter 6. Tonight, it'll be Blanca's turn. Now, last time around when I played with Blanca, I made good progress, but I was having tons of issues with inputs. I just seriously kept dropping combos. And I couldn't explain it, because as soon as I went offline and went to training mode, I didn't drop combos. It was only as I played online that I was dropping the combos, which begs the question. When I play this game at late nights streams, are the connections worse? Very well could be. It could be that at later nights, the player base, there's more people using the servers, and even if it says it's a good connection, it's not as good and it drops more inputs. You guys don't realize with this rollback-based netcode that the entire FGC praises, rollback-based netcode drops more inputs than delay-based netcode. It does. It has less overall delay, but it has more dropped inputs. So if you're in the middle of doing something critical and important, and you drop one input, and now you lose, it's frustrating. And that happened to me a lot last time that I played with Blanca last week. Obviously, I'm hoping that that won't happen tonight, but there's no way to tell what's going to happen. I did watch some more Blanca videos last night, and I'm going to try a couple more strategies. What it was last time, I couldn't do my Blanca-chan combos in the corner. And then after rewatching some videos, I realized, oh, it's because I was trying to do this one thing, and it's this other thing that makes it a little easier. I found a little bit of tweaks to my gameplay that I could possibly do to mix people up and or be more safe with my inputs, maybe not as risky as the things I was trying to do last time. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes tonight. I'm hoping for better progress. I basically am at 3-star diamond. Of course, the goal is to get to master. With 2 hours of gameplay tonight, perhaps we can get to 4-star diamond. I don't know. We'll find out. You know, I thought that's what was going to happen with my Honda last time I played with him. I thought, oh, I'll go from 3-star to 4-star diamond, or 4-star to 5-star diamond. And it didn't happen. It was a lot of losses. And like I said, since I am playing characters who aren't top tier right now, you know, both E Honda and Blanca are considered around mid-tier, I don't have the advantages of all these top tier people. And look at the vast majority of people who I'm playing in Diamond. It's all Kens and or other top tiers like Juri or DJ or Cammy. And they all play exactly the same safe patterns, the same stuff that quite frankly you can't really beat unless you get lucky. So I got to play solid. I got to get lucky. And I got to play consistent. And when I'm dropping combos like I was last time, that's the opposite of the consistency I need to win. I want to see how hopefully it goes better tonight, really. I would love to keep making progress, and I want to hit master with these characters, then we can move on to other characters. But I got to get there. I got to get back to where I was, so the grind continues tonight, okay? Okay, tomorrow is a continuation of Armored Core 6. For those who were here on Friday, I liked the game a lot. So apparently it sucks. I hate to say it, but that always seems to be the reaction of people on the internet these days. If DSP is liking a game, it must be too easy or it must suck. And that's bullshit. Because the entire time that people were building up Armored Core 6, they were saying, oh, it's the next game from FromSoft. It's very different from the Soulsborne games. It's a tried and true franchise that hasn't been around in a while. We'd absolutely like to see you play it and you know, see if you like it. So I play it, and I actually really like it. By the end of the stream, I'm customizing my mech for a cool color scheme. I bought the, quadruped or whatever, the 4 legs that can hover. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I can't wait to play again. And I'm very positive. I think the only negative I even had was in the first major boss, which is the helicopter. It's a little frustrating because the game hasn't fully explained the game mechanics yet. But I learned them on the fly, and within like 4 or 5 tries against the helicopter, I beat it. And then everything else was kind of fun, smooth sailing, good progress, upgrading in the mech, having a good time. Right? Having tons of fun. So immediately people are like, oh, this is boring. We don't want to see Phil enjoy a game. That's not allowed. We want to see Phil be frustrated and be tortured and have a bad time. So because Phil likes the game, immediately it can't be a good game. And if you take a look, I'm not even kidding you, the views on that playthrough on demand on YouTube are terrible, even compared to any of the games I've played recently. Seriously. Like, it's pretty much on par with the first few parts of, like, Chrono Trigger. With the few, you know, every other game that I kind of played recently has done better. And I'm like, wow. So all that buildup, right, that people wanted me to play, I told you guys I was going to skip it, and then someone bought it for me because they wanted me to play it so bad. I play it and it seems like no one really cares. That's disappointing. I hope that's not the case. I certainly hope that if you guys like that playthrough, you'll come tomorrow. We'll have another fun 3-hour stream. I've heard there are very challenging things coming up, that there is like a really tough boss in the game that all streamers are rage quitting on and not continuing on with the playthrough. So I'm going to continue tomorrow. Maybe we'll get to that boss. I don't know how deep into the game it is, but I just upgraded my mech to a different type, and I'm dying to try it, honestly. I'm actually excited about tomorrow's stream, and I hope you guys, again, will join me and give the game a shot. But to me, it was like, people were, oh my god, it's FromSoft. I start playing it, and the first hour, people are liking it because the helicopter's beating me. And then the moment I defeated the helicopter, it was like, alright, I'm out, see you later. And people left. They're like, wait, where are you going? Oh, well, you beat the hard part, so now, we don't want to see you enjoy the game. We're just here to be toxic douchebags. And since you're doing good now, we're out of here. Oh, okay. Like, what the fuck? Really? Like, it baffles me. There was so many people asking me to play Armored Core. You must play Armored Core. You must not skip Armored Core. And I play Armored Core, and I'm liking it. Oh, well, now we're moving on. The game sucks. What the fuck happened? It's such a ridiculous thing. It is. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous when that kind of attitude hits, or, it pisses me off. I said I was going to take the time to put it into the schedule because you guys wanted it. And then I get that kind of response when I play it because I'm liking it. Again, if I hated the game, if I raged and I shat on it constantly, probably people would like it more. And that's what pisses me off too, because it's like, do you really want to see me just lie? Would you like me to just sit here at every game and act upset and get my blood pressure up and scream like an idiot? Is that what you want? You want a character. Like, how dumb can people be to not understand that people who do that on the internet are a character? It's not genuine. It's just people acting up to get attention from other people on the internet. So why do you want that? This is me being honest and genuine about games. And in a lot of cases, I'm enjoying the games I'm playing today. What's the problem with that? Really? What is the problem with someone being real on the internet? Sorry that I guess you want to watch cartoons. Well, there's plenty of cartoons out there you can watch. The brain dead idiots watching them. Go ahead, watch a cartoon if you really want. But I'm not a cartoon. And it does upset me that people act one way and then give the people what they want. You give it to them. Oh, we hate this. What? I guess I should. Okay. All right, ready? Hold on. I got an idea. You ready? Hold on one second. Today on the Level 1 podcast, we talk about how Armored Core 6 is the most overhyped piece of rotten dog shit, petrified dinosaur turd I've ever played. All this and more on today's show. There, are you happy now? Will you tune into the stream tomorrow? It's like, come on. Anyway, I'm just trying to be real with you guys. I've so far, the first 3 hours, I thought the game was good. The thing is, like most FromSoft games, it doesn't have an elaborate story. It's basically just, okay, you're a mercenary, you're being told to go on these missions. So you do the missions, and there's more little comm chatter about the next mission. There's not much to it. I think it's really the core of the game is the gameplay and the hook of having a mech that you're constantly upgrading, changing the appearance, changing, attachments, always kind of building it up a little better, a little tweak here, a little tweak there. I'm sure what's going to happen is there's going to be missions in it where you absolutely have to have a certain build. And we haven't approached that yet, but I bet there will be times when you won't be able to beat it. For example, I was fighting that last boss, the Juggernaut, and it has a full shield at the front. So you have to be able to hit it from behind. Now, I happen to have equipped missiles that were area of effect, so they were hitting it from behind and stunning it. If I didn't have those, I might not have been able to beat the boss. I might have been able to, oh shit, I can't hit this thing at all, and I might have had to go back to reconfigure my mech and redo the whole mission so that I could get back to the boss and fight it in a different way. Luckily, I happen to have the right loadout. I feel like we will have times in the playthrough where that will happen, right? So, I'm excited for tomorrow. I hope you'll join me tomorrow for more Armored Core 6, really. I hope it continues to be good and I like it and you guys like it. I hope you'll show up and support and we'll have a good stream together, okay? Tomorrow night, more Chrono Trigger. And we are actually heading into tons of fun stuff with Chrono Trigger tomorrow night. This is one of the best parts of the game where for just temporarily, well, all right, how about this? I'm not going to say nothing. Because for those who haven't seen Chrono Trigger, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil anything. I know if I open my mouth now, I'll spoil the plot for some people. So I'm not going to spoil nothing. All I'll say is we're in one of the best parts of the Chrono Trigger plot. I hope you'll join me for that tomorrow night. Okay? And then, on Wednesday again, it'll be more GTA 5 Endgame. I don't know if we'll beat GTA 5 between today and Wednesday. If we don't, it's okay. We'll still have more time to play it. It's not a big deal. But hey, if we did wrap it up, that would at least open up the schedule exclusively for Starfield and some Armored Core on the day streams, while the night streams could be dedicated to Street Fighter and Chrono Trigger. So let's see what happens with that. And then more Street Fighter Wednesday night. I'll probably alternate back to Honda and try to continue to climb. I'm about halfway to 5-star Diamond with Honda. I had a really rough time with him last time because, again, fighting all top tiers, playing exactly the same. There's not much you can do. You have to just kind of get lucky and try not to be overwhelmed by the ridiculously overpowered top tier gameplay. And, you know, I'm not going to rage about it. I'm just going to say it is what it is. And do my best to continue to climb in the ranks, okay? So I'm off on Thursday. Friday is the big day you all have been waiting for. Per your requests, I decided I will purchase the advanced version of Starfield, meaning I pay like $30-something extra, but I'll be able to play Starfield this Friday, as opposed to September 6th, which would have been sometime next week. So this Friday will be the premiere on the day stream, 3 hours of Starfield. Obviously, it's one of the most, let me put it this way, it's not like I'm hyped for it. I'm just greatly anticipating it because I really want to see what it is. With all of this discussion and discourse around it, will it be good? Will it suck ass? We're going to talk a little bit about that in just a minute because it's part of the news for today. But I'm really curious. It's more of a experiment of what this game will be and exploring it and trying to really figure out from a gamer's, but also almost like an analytical perspective, what this game is. Is it the game that will save Bethesda and Microsoft or not? We'll find out starting Friday. Okay? Then Friday night fights, more Street Fighter 6. Saturday, Starfield will again be the daytime stream, and probably that night stream will be more Chrono Trigger. And we'll go from there. I'm not going to go through the entire next week's schedule, but that's what we're looking at for now. Okay? Good. All right. So, I hope that sounds good. And I hope that you all are having a great time with all my content recently. And thank you for listening. Thanks for chilling with me today on the podcast. Thanks to those who've been watching everything recently. I really appreciate that. Now it's time for us to go to a little segment that I like to call Phil's Day Off, the best stories on YouTube. No. Oops. I have the wrong logo selected. If you can't tell, I actually have had some new artwork submitted. And this is not the artwork that I meant to select. That was the incorrect artwork here. Let me see if I can find the correct artwork. Here it is. A little segment I like to call DSPN, Gaming News by Phil Burnell. And as you can see, I now have the ability to actually edit the colors. Check this out. Ready? Oh. Ooh. Oh. Oh. What color you guys want today? How about purple? How about that? That looks pretty. We'll do a purple DSPN today. It's absolutely amazing. You never realize what you can do with like a hue shifter, right? All right. So on today's news, it's all about Starfield, okay? So don't worry. I am going to talk some minor Starfield spoilers, but I'm not going to do it yet. I will warn you all when it's going to happen, so you know what segment that you should skip. If you want absolutely no information about Starfield whatsoever, I'll let you know when to skip, okay? And if you don't, boy, that was a tongue twister. If you guys don't know, recently, Overpowered Boone, a fan and viewer, has been posting up AI timestamps on these podcasts. So what AI does is it scans the podcast and looks for topics, and then it actually posts timestamps in the comments of the video. So you'll be able to skim and say, oh, there's the timestamp where Phil's going to start talking about this Starfield thing that I don't want to be spoiled, so I'll skip it, you see? So that's kind of cool that he started doing that, and it seems pretty useful. People are saying they're finding a lot of use out of it. So you'll know what part to skip, but not yet, okay? So, first thing I'd like to talk about is that there is a leaker who went out there and was leaking entire gameplay portions of Starfield. Someone had gotten copies of the game that probably shouldn't have had them and was putting out entire chunks, 45-minute to hour-long segments of critical parts of the game. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm running on a planet. It was like, here's story elements, here's it. They were basically spoiling the whole game. All right? Now, I've already told you guys a million times why I feel game companies should no longer be giving out advanced copies of games. There's too much risk and liability. In the modern climate, there's too many people looking to get views and attention for this kind of bad behavior. When these early copies go out, they're supposed to be for advanced reviews. People in the games media, and yes, the very, very golden boy and girl content creators who are red stamp or green stamp approved by a company like Bethesda to get a game early, to play it early, and then to put out early reviews. In the case of Starfield, the review embargo was lifted this Thursday, only one day before people can play it in advance on Friday if they pay that extra money. So it's really not that much of an advance. So why do they even need to do it? The answer is they don't. It literally is not going to benefit them having these copies out there early. But they still, for some reason, follow this incredibly archaic practice of sending these copies out 2 to 3 weeks early to certain people. Those people play the game, make a review that they release like a day or two before the game comes out. It's worthless. It's way too much of a liability in the modern gaming landscape. Too many people stand to benefit from leaking as opposed to what the game would benefit from a positive early review. In reality, what should happen is these companies should say, listen, we've had enough. There's just not enough trust anymore in this gaming landscape. Our game comes out, you buy it and play it for yourself. Or wait for your favorite content creator, your favorite media outlet to buy the game themselves, play it themselves, review it honestly, and then judge for yourself if you want to buy it. We don't need the hype of advanced marketing and advanced reviews because our game's just goddamn good enough. So play it or don't, but be responsible with yourself and judge for yourself. If a game came out that was good and did that, that could literally change the entire gaming industry. But no one wants to do it. They all are pussies, and they all just adhere to the old, tried and true, archaic horse shit. Okay? So they send out these copies, and it always leaks. So in this case, there's a person who apparently is I guess he's a creator or something, and he actually found a way to underhandedly get the copies. This was not a situation where like, oh, this guy works for IGN and he decided he was going to leak the game. This guy supposedly found a way to get them. He wasn't supposed to. Now, how exactly he did it, no one seems to know. Did he know someone who worked at a warehouse and he paid someone under the table to slip him a few copies? You know, nobody really knows the ins and outs yet. I guess there's actually a police investigation into it. But this person got a bunch of copies of the game early and then not only was posting up content of it to the internet to try to get internet popularity based off of that, but then apparently was also trying to sell copies illegally early. Like he had these copies he wasn't supposed to have, and he was trying to sell them for like big money to make profits to sell these copies early. So I guess, thankfully, someone got the police involved, and the guy got arrested. Apparently it's a felony for what he did. I don't exactly know the ins and outs because I don't think the full details of the story have been on the internet yet. But yeah, apparently the guy got arrested. So thankfully, this bullshit finally got stopped for once. Because how many times do we hear about these big games coming out and the entire game's leaked early, people have the copies early? How the fuck did that happen, right? So thankfully, they put the kibosh on it, all right? But it's pretty crazy because now there's already information all on the internet all about this game that shouldn't be out there. You know, the embargo's been broken, okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to talk about next could be considered minor spoilers for the game. It has nothing to do with the plot. It has nothing to do with major gameplay elements. But it does concern planet exploration. If you don't want to be spoiled, skip this portion of the podcast. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go like this. Woo, woo, woo. When I'm done with this part of the podcast. So when I'm done doing these minor spoilers, I'll go woo, woo, woo. And then you can come back to the stream. Okay? There you go. So, as of now, minor spoilers. Skip them if you need to. And I hope the AI timestamp pick this up so people can skip if they want to. Okay? So, someone has posted up a video. It is legit. It looks completely legit. It doesn't look like it's fabricated. It looks like it's in-game engine. It is a 10-minute time-lapse video. What someone did is they wanted to test the actual confines of space exploration in Starfield. If you remember, okay, when they were advertising this game and promoting it about a month or two ago, this many planets, this many will have this many settlements and blah, blah, blah. But what everyone is wondering is to what extent is the actual exploration on any of these given planets. For example, on No Man's Sky, you can land on any planet, and it's a real planet where you can kind of drive across the planet, but sadly, the vast majority of the content in the game was barren at first, so people hated the game. It's like, dude, it's a bunch of barren worlds. How is this fun? Okay? So people are questioning, in Starfield, if it really has all these planets, what meaningful content? Is it quantity over quality? Is it quality over quantity? Is there a good balance? What's going on? So someone put this theory to the test. They landed on a planet, and they said, I'm literally just going to walk. And I'm going to walk maximum speed in one direction and see what happens. So they turned on their camera, and they started a time lapse, and they walked. And it was full speed running, you know, until the stamina expires, then wait for it to rebuild, run again, stamina expires, rebuild. Didn't fight, didn't go into any settlements, just kept walking. Okay? They did this for 10 straight real life minutes. Not in game. Real life 10 minutes. Okay? That's a lot of time to just be walking in one direction in a video game. In this particular case, there was nothing that was stopping them from progressing. It was like, oh, there's a mountain, I can't climb it. It was pretty straight for the most part. They just kept moving, and there wasn't anything to really hinder them. Okay? So they walked for about 10 minutes and a few seconds. And then all of a sudden, something happened that the entire internet is now abuzz about. They hit an invisible wall. So, apparently, in Starfield, a planet is not actually a planet. Okay? A planet is an instance. It's a pre-generated area with a certain circumference, or what do they call it? Is it circumference? The range? Like, think of it like a big flat circle. It's a map. Each planet is a map. It's not actually a planet that's round that you can fully explore and run around in a circle. It's just not possible. Instead, it's a map. And the map, from at least the planet this person tested it on, you could run in one direction for 10 minutes. You would guess that means you probably could have ran in the opposite direction for 10 minutes. So at any given time, that's 20 minutes of exploration walking. And of course, everything you can find in that big radial area, right? But immediately, some people are absolutely freaking out and saying, false advertisement. When they're saying that this game is planets, it should be planets. You should actually be able to explore the entirety of the planets. How dare you misadvertise the game? How dare you be saying this or that? Okay? For me, here's the deal. Here's my take on this. Okay? If this game, alright, has 50 good instances or worlds or civilization, whatever you want to call it, and all of them are meaningful, and they have towns with people in them with missions to do, and there's dungeons and fun things to do. If that's the case, okay, then I think that's fine. For me, it's quality over quantity. I would much rather have a game that has a good amount of meaningful, fun, well-designed, curated content than a game that's procedurally generated open universe and 90% of the content is a waste of your time, boring. Who cares if it's a real planet if you go to the planet and you walk on it and there's nothing to fucking do there? Then you have No Man's Sky. You literally are playing No Man's Sky again, and I don't think anyone wants No Man's Sky to be Starfield, or Starfield to be No Man's Sky. We want them to be their own separate entities. Okay? So, if this is the case, I'm okay with it, actually, as long as in that 10 minutes you can walk in one direction, there's stuff to do there. Alright? But, yeah, if you're landing on these worlds, and the vast majority of these worlds are bad, they're boring, they're empty, they're barren, and they're confined, now you got a problem. And that's what we don't know yet. All we know is that these worlds are not actually planets, they're maps. And I think that's kind of like, doesn't give us enough data to really analyze and say, is that good or bad? It's good if actually their content there is meaningful. Is there meaningful content? We don't know yet. We haven't played it, right? So I guess we'll find out. But certainly for me, this is something that I feel is not a game breaker. Being honest, I don't think it's a game changer or a game breaker. For some people, it is. There's people online freaking out right now. Like, I can't believe it. They've lied to us all along. They said this was a planet exploration game, and there's literally not an actual planet in it. It's just a bunch of flat maps, and that's bullshit, and we're really upset about it. And you know what? If you want to be upset about it, I guess go ahead. This information has come out now. The game's not out yet. You didn't buy it yet. So if this is a game breaker and you need to not buy the game because you feel you've been lied to, well, then go ahead and skip. For me, I don't think this matters. I think that this is nothing. It's like a fart in the wind, not a big deal. But a lot of people will be upset, I think, because they were... Again, what it is we have a lot of games that have preceded this one. And because of that, you're going to have preconceived notions. If you play No Man's Sky, then you're expecting this game to have real planets, and it doesn't have those. So that's going to be a game breaker and an issue for some people. Not for me. Again, I just want meaningful and fun content out of the game. I don't care if it's a real planet or a flat map. Just give me the content that's entertaining, right? So I guess we'll see. But that is that. So now I end the spoiler content. Woo, 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 woo. Come back, everybody. Woo. All right. The spoilers are done. If you want to see what I was talking about spoiler-wise, check out that segment that I just did on the show. Hopefully it's time-stamped appropriately. And there you go. By the way, I just cannot believe that Master Chief is in Starfield. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I'm just kidding. It's not true. I made that up. That's not the spoiler. Anyway. All right. Let's continue now. Okay, that's really it. Like, for game news today, that's really all I've got. There's really nothing else really going on right now in game news. So, you know, next time around, we'll probably talk about something different. Oh, crap. I hit the wrong thing. This is saturation. I want to hit color. There we go. I want to have it go back to red for now. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. So, everybody, thank you for listening to the news segment. But now I'd like to roll into the next. Before we do shout-outs, I have another segment that I'd like to talk about this morning. And it has to do with statistics. Okay? And the reason I'm really bringing this up is because of a particular video that we watched yesterday during my React show. But in particular, it very much applies to games and game sales numbers and a lot of other things when it comes to games. Player counts and things like that I feel are always misleading. And therefore, Anyway, in this regard, all right, let's just start talking from where this idea came from, okay? Yesterday, I'm on my React show, DSP versus the Internet. People submit clips for me to watch and react to. Someone submitted a clip about statistics. And what the statistics were supposed to be was, what are the most unlikely things that could possibly happen to you? And some of the starter statistics were shocking. You have a 1 in 100 chance of having a bad brain tumor. Shit, really? 1 in 100? I don't like thinking that I could be the 1 in 100. I don't think that a 1% chance is slim when it comes to something that could end your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty crazy. And they were actually going on, like, more like a car accident is actually less of a chance that you could do that than have a brain tumor and stuff like that. Oh my God. All right. One of the statistics that came up that actually irked me is because it reminded me of other statistics that I hear all the time that sadly I feel misrepresent something because of context. So allow me to explain. The statistic was as follows. There's a ridiculous amount of high schoolers or kids in high school who play sports. Okay? And the statistic was like only an incredibly small amount of any high schooler who ever plays a sport will actually play it professionally. And I think it was like 1 in 700 will play it in the MLB or Major League Baseball. 1 in every 4,000 will play American football. 1 in 5,000 will play football or soccer. And then it was like 1 in 11,000 will actually play in the NBA or National Basketball Association. So, your chances are in so small, right? And I heard that statistic. And I started thinking about it. And I was like, This is why I don't like when statistics are used to try to push a narrative, okay? Because obviously what the narrative is in this video is that the chances of certain things are incredibly small. That's supposed to be like, what is the most unlikely thing that'll happen to you? Well, it's incredibly unlikely you'll play a sport in high school and then you'll do that for a living later, okay? That's the point of the video that the video was trying to make. But if you actually analyze what was just said in the video, okay? Let's analyze the basketball take, okay? Out of all high schoolers who play basketball, all right, only 1 in 11,000 will become an NBA player, all right? Okay, well, that sounds incredibly unlikely and incredibly tiny. But what you don't realize from when they're giving that statistic, all right, is that they are using generalized numbers that aren't in context and don't actually apply to the situation. So let me give you an example. Likely what they did is they took a sample size of everyone in high school who's played basketball, right? We're not talking about people who are like trying to be in the NBA. We're talking about anyone who ever joined the basketball team. How many high schools are there, right? And how many kids join the basketball team? Each high school has a basketball team of what? 15, 20 kids, right? So multiply that times the time of amount of high schools that they have, and then divide by the number of actually getting to, you know, the NBA, and you get 1 in 11,000. But that's not accurate. What's accurate, the real number that should be pertinent, that they should be providing, how many high schoolers who actually try to play the sport professionally and get into the NBA actually get into the NBA. Because, for example, at any given high school, let's say you have a basketball team of 20 players. What? Maybe one of them is good enough to think that, hey, maybe I could go to college and do this. And then when they're in college, they think, hey, I was so good at this in college, maybe I could do the NBA for the rest of my life. This could be my job. Very rarely will you find a person who thinks that they're good enough that they'll actually aim to do that. It's not like, well, every single person who's ever played basketball aspires to be an NBA player and will do everything they can to try, right? Most people, they play it casually, and then they move on with their lives. They're not going to sit there and focus on it forever, you understand? So when they're giving these statistics out, and they're saying only 1 in 11,000. Yeah, 1 in 11,000 out of everyone who plays basketball in high school. But what about those who actually are good and try to get to the NBA? How much you want to bet it goes from 1 in 11,000 down to like 1 in 400? Something way more likely, as long as you bust your butt, you can actually find it way more attainable. Still a gamble, but way more realistic. And what gets me about those statistics is it's purposely presented in a way out of context to make it sound a certain way. All right? Here's why I don't like that. Because here on the Level 1 podcast, every day, we talk about things like concurrent numbers of players on Steam or on a console. We talk about overall game sales numbers and how a game broke a record. Oh my God, it's the best-selling game on Xbox. It's the best-selling game of the season. It's the best-selling game of the year. It's the highest ever rated game. It's the highest ever this game, that game, this. And every time you hear one of those numbers, what you don't understand, all right, is that it's all within a certain realm of reference to make it sound better. Rarely will you ever be presented with a statistic in your life that's actually going to be in a context that will make factual, objective sense. Usually when you're presented with statistics, it's because someone's trying to push a narrative on you. So when you hear this game is the bestseller game, blah, 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 this many copies sold, you always have to approach that with some skepticism. And I'll give you a couple cases in point here of how these numbers have been very misrepresented over the years for me, okay? So for example, all right, let's say a game says it broke sales records and it had a big amount of sales, all right? That's great. But what about if that game was on Game Pass? Because a lot of games are on Game Pass, all right? And you may not realize this, but Microsoft actually considers any download of a digital video game as a sale. That is incorrect from an objective standpoint. Just because you have a subscription-based service and you downloaded a game does not mean it's a sale of the game. You did not actively purchase it. You just got access to the license through your subscription-based service. That is a completely different situation than someone who opened their wallet and said, here's $60 or $70 so I can purposefully and permanently purchase the rights to your game. In fact, at any moment, you could discontinue your subscription service and you've lost the access to the game. So how is that a game sale? It doesn't even make sense. But they always count that in the numbers of sales for games now. And that is not accurate at all. It's completely misrepresented, and it's been overinflating sales numbers of games now for about 2 or 3 years. And a lot of people don't realize that. They just, oh, that game did so well. Actually, no. Like, very few people bought it, but because it was a day one Game Pass game, ridiculous amounts of people just downloaded it to try it, and probably never even went back and played it ever again, but then they tout it as a ton of sales when it really didn't sell. It's bullshit. I would think a much more important statistic there would be how many people actually played the game more than a few minutes, right? If you got a game on Game Pass, how many people actually got 30% into the game before they dropped it, right? That would be more meaningful to me. How many people like a game to the point where they keep playing it versus how many people just got it on a subscription service because it was free, played it for a minute, said, fuck this, it sucks, and never ever played it again. But you will never hear that statistic, even though it's very probable you can find that out by analyzing things like achievement data and stuff like that. They'll never talk about that. Here's another situation you guys don't realize. When they tout these sales numbers for the huge AAA games, were you aware that they're always counting sales for console bundles? Yeah. If you actually look at game sales numbers, were you aware that Wii Sports is actually one of the best-selling games of all time? How many people actually bought Wii Sports? Literally zero. No one ever bought Wii Sports. But the game was packed in with the Nintendo Wii for so long that everyone who bought a Wii got Wii Sports, and they actually considered that as a game sale. So if you look at top games sold, Wii Sports is on there. Literally no one ever bought the fucking game. So when you hear sales numbers about a game, for example, the God of War series, right? Now listen, don't get me wrong here. The God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok games are outstanding games that in their own right sold tons. But they're also counting those games as bundled in with console sales. And in particular, PS5 had an entire wave of PS5 consoles that had God of War Ragnarok included, and every one of those console sales was considered a sale for God of War Ragnarok. In reality, people were buying it because PS5 was in short supply, and they wanted a PS5, and every time PS5 went on sale, they bought them all up. So can you really count those as official game sales for God of War Ragnarok? I don't think so. Like, I don't think that actually it should say that at all. But I just think it's ridiculous that when we hear these statistics in our daily lives, we just take them as face value truth, when in reality, most of these statistics that you're hearing are horrendous bullshit. They're never put into context of what's really going on, and therefore you always think one thing that's not true. I always hear this sales number, that this is the next game that had the most concurrent players on Steam, and the next game that had the most concurrent players on Steam. Yeah, but what is the situation of that exactly, right? Is there a free trial going on that everyone's jumping on the game and they fucking play it for like a day? You know what I'm saying? I hear this all the time, and it's always bullshit. It's like, spin me the right data that's objective. Don't tell me what you want me to think. Tell me what's actually true. Because in reality, that's what statistics are meant to do. But what happens is statistics have been used over the years in so many manipulative ways to make people think something about something that's just not true. Okay? I keep hearing statistics about Oppenheimer, the movie. All right? Now, I'm not saying the movie's bad, and I'm not saying the movie's not doing well. But first I hear, okay, so it's like the top 5 Nolan North movies. Then it's the top 4 Nolan North movies. Oh, wait, well, that's domestic gross. But now it's finally hit this with the worldwide gross. Wait, now it's actually the best grossing movie that's a rated R movie, but except for 2 others. And it's like, what are all these statistics? They don't mean anything. They really don't. It's stupid. The statistics are meaningless. And then you hear, well, Super Mario Brothers movie was the best movie of all time, money-wise. But then you look at other statistics and say it actually didn't even break top 5. Wait, what? But I thought you just said it was the highest grossing movie. Well, it's not, actually. That was very a subjective rating with certain markets and certain things. If you look big picture, this movie did better, this movie did better. Like, wait, what? Did I say Nolan North? I meant to say, I didn't mean to say Nolan North. I meant to say Christopher Nolan, right? Christopher Nolan movies. I said Nolan North, excuse me. I got my Nolans confused. But anyway, you see the point I'm making here is that these numbers and statistics are used all the time to make things sound a way that are bullshit. So you always have to be very skeptical and not just listen. Because so many people think things about games, about movies, about anything, and they just think, oh, that's truth now. All right? I'll give you a really good example of how getting a first impression about something and just believing it at face value can completely destroy its chances. All right? Do you guys remember the launch of the Xbox One console? Do you remember that? So at the launch of the Xbox One, if you remember, Don Matrick. Who remembers Don Matrick? Oh, yeah. This guy was a jackass. And when he presented the Xbox One at that particular E3, I think it was like 2013, he completely mismanaged it. He mispromoted it. He was saying things like, if you don't have an internet connection, use the Xbox 360. This is not the console for you. No, you can't trade games with your friends. We don't care about that. Basically, really anti-consumer things. All right? Now, what ended up happening was, because there was such backlash against the design of the Xbox One, Microsoft changed an insane amount of things about the console before it released that fall to be more in line with what gamers wanted. The problem was, the damage had already been done. Most gamers heard the initial reports that the Xbox One was anti-gamer. You can't trade in games. You can't borrow games. You can't do this. You can't do that. You need an internet connection. And when they heard all of that, they immediately just flipped the switch. Well, I don't want an Xbox One then. I'm never going to be listening to this ever again. And then they didn't buy it at launch. The console massively undersold. And it took so long in the console generation for the Xbox One to actually get a solid foothold because there was this negative association with the console because of Don Matrick. So when you hear a statistic at first about a game or a movie and it sounds so overly positive, right? You tend to believe it. Did you know that Final Fantasy 16 actually has not sold very well and Square Enix is actually very disappointed with its sales results? But most people don't know that because initially they reported 3 million sales in the first week and everyone was like, wow, 3 million sales of a game is outstanding. That's absolutely amazing and I can't believe that. But they were all pre-orders. After that, the sales of the game statistically, factually, objectively tanked. Because as people actually got their hands on the game, only the first 3 million really were fanboys of Final Fantasy and loved it. And word of mouth was, it's just an action-based RPG. It's not doing that well. A lot of people crapped on it. It's not my Final Fantasy. And therefore, the game didn't overall sell anywhere near the expectations of what Square Enix wanted for it. In fact, they were hoping it was going to blow Final Fantasy 15 out of the water, and as of today, it hasn't even sold as well as Final Fantasy 15 up to this point since its release. You understand? So, yeah. Now, you'll well, that's only for PS5. That's only for... You can spin it however you want. A fact is a fact. But they have been pushing this narrative that Final Fantasy 16 is a great selling game, when in reality, it's actually one of the worst performing Final Fantasies in the last 20 years. It actually has not done well. It tanked after that initial week, and no one really is even talking about it anymore. It's done. But do you know that? You can find the data. It's out there on the internet right now for you to find, but no one knows that because all you heard was the initial misinformation statistic. You see? And that's how things work. And that's what I'm saying. You guys got to listen to the facts and not the spin. Because this spin happens all the time. That YouTube video we watched yesterday, I get it. The whole point of the video was, what is the most improbable thing? Well, if you're just a casualized person playing basketball in high school and you don't really care so much about being in the NBA, yeah, your chances of actually hitting the NBA are 1 in 11,000. Okay. But what if I'm good at basketball? I think I have a chance. I work my ass off and I actually try. What are my actual chances? That's the statistic that's really more meaningful because it's in context. But people won't put that shit in context. They'll always take it out of context or specific context to make it sound to the narrative that they want. All right? So, there you go. That's what you got to be very skeptical about. And I hope that at least me talking a little bit about it to my audience today, maybe you'll be a little bit more skeptical, a little bit more careful about what you actually believe. When you're hearing initial sales numbers, initial reaction, initial this, blah, 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 there's usually a spin involved in all of it. The movies in particular recently have been real bad. They always try to spin a movie in a way that makes it sound way better than it is or way worse than it is. You really don't know how well a movie is done until like 2-3 weeks after. Then the dust is settled, you get the worldwide box office growth, you get a more bigger picture. All these little numbers they throw at you at first for a movie's performance mean absolutely nothing because they're not in context yet. So there you go. Just be careful. Always be skeptical. Take everything in life with a grain of salt because there's always someone who's looking to try to spin it for their own personal gain or their own agenda, and you got to be careful about that. And by the way, I'm not crapping on anyone. There's entire industries based around this. I'm not shitting you. There's entire industries based around this. There's people who have literally designed entire ways of work around spinning numbers so that they can get ahead. So when there's people who sit 24/7, this is my job, this is what I do, I spin shit to fool people, that's when you really got to be skeptical about what you're being told about stuff, okay? Okay. All right. So there you have it. Those are my topics for today. What I'd like to do is a little bit of shout-outs for those who have contributed, and obviously open up to a little bit of Q&A before we jump into Grand Theft Auto 5 today, okay? So there you go. All right, are we ready? Let us go ahead and start with shout-outs. So today we have to start on the YouTube side of things. So earlier we had B-Boy Cyclone, who re-upped his membership for a whopping 27 months. And says, what's wrong with watching you rage at a FromSoft game? Nothing. Listen, if you enjoy watching me rage at a game, that's perfectly fine. But I'm not even kidding you. The response I'm seeing to me playing Armored Core 6 was, oh, well, it was a FromSoft game, and we were expecting Phil to fail endlessly and rage at it as if it were Dark Souls. He's not doing that. Therefore, this is not fun, and we're moving on, and we're not going to watch or support it. That I don't understand. Like, why do I have to not like a game for there to be enjoyment? Why can't I actually enjoy something and then have it be quality? Why are so many people on the internet based around toxicity and negativity instead of actual genuine joy? That's what gets me. On YouTube right now, if I made a video that said, this is the absolute best game I've ever played and you must check it out. And if I also made a video that said, this is the absolute worst game I've ever played and you must avoid it like the plague and here's why, let me rip it a new asshole, the negative video will get 10 times more views than the positive video. And I can outright show you evidence of that. Not skewed statistics, but realistic ones. All you got to do is head over to my old edited content channel, KO Gaming. I made a video about how Homefront The Revolution was the worst game I had played to that point, and that video got over 1 million views within a couple of weeks. Then I made a video about how Uncharted 4 was my favorite game of the year, and here's why, and that video pulled in a couple tens of thousands of views, and that was it. That's the divisive difference between positivity and negativity, enjoyment and toxicity and hatred. I don't get it. In life, I would much rather be doing something that I enjoy than something that I hate. I would much, much rather play a game that I think is one of the best games I've ever played and share that with you than play a game that I think is a piece of overhyped, underdeveloped, unfinished dog shit and rip it a new asshole. But that's supposedly what people want to see, and that's what I don't understand. Why did so many people on Earth become so fucking negative and toxic? What happened to humanity? Was it always like this? Because I can tell you, back in the day, when I was doing YouTube videos, it was a mix. There definitely were people who were along for the ride, and when I played a great game, people loved that feeling of me enjoying a game and having a good time. My Game of the Year contenders always had the biggest views and big engagement, and everyone loved them. Now it's like, if, you know, because I rarely try to play bad games. Oh, well, he's not raging anymore, so we don't care. Like, what? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm very upset about this. I am. Because does this mean that I'm not allowed to just enjoy what I'm doing anymore? I want to enjoy myself. I want to enjoy Armored Core 6. So far, I like it. I'm sure there'll be parts coming up that will be rage-inducing and challenging, but I'm actually having a good time with the game. So now, every time I play it, I have to expect that people aren't going to show up and support, that it's going to have terrible views because I like it? Huh? But if I hated it, and if my first video was, oh my god, the first boss is impossible, and these game developers are assholes for making it this hard, that video would have had 20,000 views. Right now, want to know how many views it has? 2,000 views on part 1. So what the fuck is wrong with people? Honestly, why do people only want this negativity? I don't get it. That's what irks me about Armored Core. And listen, I get it. If you watch me play a fighting game, if you watch me play a Soulsborne game, or maybe a first-person shooter online, and I'm raging, there's hilarity there. I get it. I understand it too. I like the fact that people tune into me for different reasons. But I don't think that just because I like a game, now my playing of that game, I should expect it to be like a big reduced amount of attention and success and support because I like it. That's insane. What is wrong with people that they're so focused on toxicity? Listen, I get it. If you want to see me not like something, and that'll happen, there'll be times when I'm full of rage and things like that. But I want to be able to enjoy games, man. I'm getting older. And as I've told you guys, all right, as I'm getting older, I'm coming to realize, right, I have less time on this planet. I'm not able to do the things I used to be able to do for the amount of times and the extent that I used to do them. Just the other day, the first time I was playing Armored Core, I'm not kidding you, these two fingers started to hurt excruciatingly. I had crazy muscle pain and nerve pain in these two fingers trying to play Armored Core. And I was like, what just happened? Oh, I think I know what happened. I'm getting older. It's carpal tunnel kicking in. This is a game, when I'm playing it, I literally have to be using all 4 shoulders and all 4 face buttons and the thumbsticks all at the same time to properly maneuver. So I'm holding onto this controller in a way that usually I don't have to when I'm playing other games, and I'm actually getting pain shooting up my arm, right? So with all these things happening, I got to take a look at my time, and especially now that I'm a full-time streamer, I have to make sure that my time being used is meaningful. I can't play every old game that is a piece of dog shit. Why do you think I don't play every knockoff Soulsborne game? In the last couple of years, you guys said, why don't you play Remnant? Why don't you play Thymesia? Why don't you play, what was the one with the robots last year, right? Why don't you play this one? Why don't you play that one? Are you going to play Lies of P? Are you going to play Lords of the Fallen? Hey, why don't you play that? They're all knockoffs. They're all trying to be Soulsborne. You understand? So if I'm going to play Soulsborne, I'll actually play Soulsborne. I'll go back to Elden Ring, and I'll continue on with my run in the game that actually is the name brand. Why do I have to play every game attempting to be what they are? I would rather focus on the good game, because that's how I think is the better use of my time, right? I don't have unlimited time, man. I'm getting older. I'm not 25, 27 years old pumping out videos on YouTube. I'm 41. I got to make the best use of my time that I can. So I'm going to play games that I have vested interest in, or you have an interest in, you want to see me play, and that hopefully are going to turn out to be good playthroughs of enjoyment, not just fucking punishment and rage, and my blood pressure going up, and me freaking out, sweating, and my head getting all red, and me screaming. I got to stop doing that, you understand? I have to. I have to turn into someone who's making games, playthroughs, that are better, not rage-inducing worse rage quits and shit like that. That's for fucking morons. Sorry, it just is. To see someone pump out content like that constantly, that's for an immature, younger audience. Been there, done that. I used to make that content 10, 15 years ago. That's what I pumped out constantly, right? I didn't care about the quality of my playthrough. I just wanted to rush through, get it done, on to the next game. If I shit on the game unfairly, who gives a fuck? No one should be taking me seriously. On to the next game. Today, I am a completely different person. And people still don't fucking get that for some reason. They don't understand that I have changed and evolved, because a lot of the time they don't want to believe that. They just want to think you're the same toxic idiot from 10, 15 years ago. I'm not. I've grown. I've matured. Just because you want to spin it that way for your own very, very toxic personal reasons. So you can keep hate watching me and saying awful things about me and get clickbait views on your junk content doesn't make it factually true. Okay? So I've had enough of the bullshit. And if I want to play Armored Core 6 and enjoy it, I should be able to. And not have people telling me, well, because you're liking it now, I don't want to watch you play it. What the fuck is that? Let me put it this way. If the only reason you ever want to see me play a game is because you want to see me dislike it and rage at it, then fuck off and don't suggest the game. I mean it. At this point in my life, I don't need toxic suggestions. Ever again. And if Armored Core 6 was a toxic suggestion, you're pretty pathetic and shame on you. Because the game actually is good and deserves to be praised for what I've seen of it so far. I'm not just going to shit on it because you're an idiot and you want to see me get my blood pressure up and freak out. I'm not 5 years old, all right? I'm not trying to copy the angry video game nerd in every video I do. I've become my own person, my own style of content that's meaningful to me and to my audience who comes by and supports me. So I don't need rage views, hate views, and nonsensical idiots coming by and trying to skew what I play and do. All right? And by the way, I'm not saying that every person who wanted to see me play Armored Core 6 is of that mindset. But it certainly seems like there was a large group, because there were people campaigning to see me play Armored Core 6 pretty hardcore. And the moment I started playing it, oh, what's this? What the hell? Oh, he's not dying every 5 seconds. I don't get it. Right? So, there you go. All right? Please understand that. And, I just had enough of the bullshit where again, if you are coming by only for toxicity and negativity, you're in the wrong place. Maybe old Phil, 10, 15 years ago, you would have been able to see that, You'll see some of that when I play Street Fighter and I'm freaking out and my inputs are dropping, I'm having a bad night. But that's not what I'm all about. You're in the wrong spot, all right? So leave. And stop trying to fucking rain on everyone else's parade. And again, if you're someone who only wants that and that you're actually trying to skew my playing of games because of that, you're not wanted here. I'd much rather play games that are going to be meaningful, positive, fun experiences. All right? I don't want to have toxicity permeating all of my content. I don't need it anymore. I'm too old for that shit. To quote an amazing actor, Danny Glover, right? I'm too old for that shit. I don't need you in my life. I don't, okay? Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Thank you, B-Boy Cyclone, for re-upping your membership. Polymetal did a super chat. Says, I'm a longtime viewer. I've enjoyed your GTA 5 playthrough. It's been cool to revisit the game 10 years later. Too bad the multiplayer sucks. I'm not going to say the multiplayer sucks. I'm going to say that GTA Online is not for me because it never really was. GTA Online was always designed for someone looking for this online interactive social experience that I wasn't looking for. I was looking for just something to mess around with friends and mess with the physics like I did with Suicide Kings in Red Dead Redemption, like we just did the other day when we reminisced on my anniversary event. Those were the days to me. And then when I actually tried to do that in GTA Online, it just never really worked. Outside of that, it was just hang out with friends in an online environment. And somehow that became a multi-billion-dollar industry for Rockstar. I don't know. To me, I don't know. I just don't get it. But I guess a lot of people do. So it is what it is. I'm not going to say it sucked, but I will agree with you. It's been fun to replay GTA 5 in the capacity that I have. I've really enjoyed it. A lot of people have actually said now for the first time in years, they went back and replayed the game watching me replay it, and they're enjoying playing it again. So that is awesome. Thank you for that. Polymetal. Also, James White to the super chat says, you can't compare probability with sales numbers. It's statistics. It's all statistics. Why can't I? I can compare grapes to rocket engines. I can compare my fist to this microfiber cloth if I want. I can do whatever I want. Thanks for the super chat. Yes, I can't do that. No, I could do whatever I want, actually, as long as I back it up. And I'm pretty sure that I did back up everything that I was saying there with factual analysis and sense. So, yeah, I could do that. Thanks. Okay. Let's continue. On the tip side of stuff, let's swing over to tips for now. I received a $6.66 tip from Big Papa Phil. He says, I was tagging this message in chat. I want you to get a public comment on this. You should watch Snake Eyes Grand Finals and his reset for last night's Capcom Pro Tour US West Tournament. His Zangief beat a top JP player 3-1, then 3-0. He walked JP down with Geef and crushed him. He had to walk and block parry an inch closer while getting zoned relentlessly. He never jumped too early. He stayed solid. He made his way in slowly while blocking and parrying the zoning. He blew up JP with counter hits, hit confirms into drive rush combos, and SPDs whenever JP left a gap in his pressure. Obviously, Snake is otherworldly, but his patience with zoning is something you can adopt as well. I've noticed you sometimes get impatient with zoning. You make mistakes like jumping when the opponent is waiting for you to jump, as opposed to just blocking or parrying the fireball and continuing to move forward. You've shown great patience at other times, but some zone and then it cut off. Here's honestly my problem, Big Papa Phil, is that I just can't seem to do things on reaction from mid-screen in Street Fighter 6. Okay? And, wow, did this not work? Uh-oh. My animations might not be working. Hold on. That's not good. Why did that not just play? Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a glitch. It's working now. Okay. So here's what I'm saying, okay? For example, when I'm mid-screen from anyone in Street Fighter 6, and they do a move, anything that's fast, a mid-screen fireball, that's a faster speed, drive rushing a low kick, I just can't seem to block it on reaction, okay? Now, I want you to understand something. It could definitely 100% be me, okay? It could 100% be old man Phil's awful reactions in 2023. I am not someone who has actively been playing fighting games in any competitive capacity for the last decade. The last time I actively tried to play competitive Street Fighter was arguably Street Fighter 4 within its first 2 years, where I actually traveled to a couple of tournaments and played it. Outside of that, it's been all online play, laggy shit regardless. Look at the ones I've been playing, right? I've been playing freaking Street Fighter Classics that always have bad connections and stuff. So, excuse me. I know I'm out of practice, and even having played Street Fighter 6 for 3 months, okay, does not mean that I am in any capacity reacting to anything in a fast way. You have to understand that. It very well could be I am just incredibly slow. But I am having a lot of problems in Street Fighter 6 when I now am at these diamond level rankings, right? And I'm playing these players who have mastered these patterns, and they do this pattern play mid-screen shit, whether it's fireball, drive rush mix-up, or simply just pressing a high priority button. I can't seem to react to it in time. I'm trying. I am really trying. Block high-low on reaction, right in the corner. Trying to do it never seems to work, right? I just can't. Hell, drive impact half the time. I can't react to it. I'm trying. I swear to God, I am trying to react to drive impact, and I can't do it. And I think it might just be that I'm getting older. And if I played Street Fighter 6 hardcore, if this is a game that I was playing all the time, every night practicing, I'd probably be way better. You have to understand that the vast majority of people who are getting to master level in this game are doing that. They are constantly playing this fucking game. It's the game they stream and play, and that's all they're streaming and playing. They're not doing anything else. Me, I'm the exception. I'm the variety guy who's still trying to hang while I'm balancing 400 other games, doing a reality channel and all this other shit, right? A react channel and all this other shit. Very rare to see that. So for me, it's a harder climb, and maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I hear you. In this game, there's nothing that is unbeatable in Street Fighter. You understand? It's just not. There's nothing that's unbeatable right now. Even with Ken being so top tier, when I'm ranting and raving about Ken, I'm not saying, how dare they put in the unbeatable Ken. That's not the case. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, oh my God, how dare they have a character that's so easy to play that people can literally just play a pattern and mash and guess and dominate when you don't have your whole fucking life to dedicate to this game to know exactly what to do in every single situation you fight this guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that simple. You know, Snake Eyes, he's amazing. You watch his gameplay, and you're like, wow, I want to do that. And then you try to play with Zangief, you're like, why the fuck can't I never get those opportunities. He's reading everything. He's predicting well. He's reading. He's baiting, you know. First of all, just playing the game offline at a tournament, I'm sure, is such a much better experience than trying to play this shit online and do all of that, you know. You notice the pro players all play on PC for a reason. They're not playing on PS5. They ain't playing on Xbox. They're all on PC for a very good reason. That reduced input delay is a huge thing, especially, again, from mid-screen with how fast things are in this game. It's a critical thing, I think. It's necessary. You know, and good for him to be able to do that. I'm happy for him, you know. I don't think I would ever get to that level, quite frankly. I don't think I would. GT, you are completely wrong, and if you say one more incorrect thing, you're out of here. Because I'm tired of people coming to my chat, spouting incorrect facts, thinking they know what the fuck they're talking about. Really. I've had enough. I'm not even going to tell you what he says, so stupid. Isn't that enough of the bullshit? People come in here, oh, I know better than you. There's 50,000 master players, and they're not all pro players. And by the way, just so you know, PC input delay is the same as the console. Okay? You're just an idiot. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There's literally entirely designed and tweaked operating systems to reduce delay on PC that the pro players are using so that they have less input than anyone else playing the game. Because I'm friends with fucking Arturo Sanchez, you idiot. I know all about it. Oh my god. People are just dumb, man. Anyway. Let's continue instead of talking about Street Fighter all day. Okay? I got a dollar tip here. Huh? This person didn't even finish their message, and it was like hater shit anyway, so I'm just not going to entertain it. It's stupid. Someone tipped $1. Says, is Chrono Trigger a knockoff of Final Fantasy? No. To say that, you'd have to say that every JRPG is a knockoff of Final Fantasy, which wouldn't even be the case. You'd have to say Final Fantasy is a knockoff of Dragon Quest, because Dragon Quest came out first. So the answer is no. Okay. Dr. Oink has tipped me $2. Says Remnant 2 is a great game. I'm not sure why people compare a gritty, dark action adventure game to Dark Souls, when other games before have done the same type of format. For example, Zelda's Majora's Mask. Zelda wasn't gritty, but it still had pretty much the same format, and I think people should stop comparing games and just enjoy the game for what it is. By the way, what's for Din Din? Leftovers. Today we're having leftovers from what my wife had made on Saturday. Yep. So basically all that barbecue stuff we're having again today. There you go. Okay. Shout out to Butters. Butters has been a member for 10 months. Thank you, Butters. He says, I'm getting too old for this shit. That's right. Indeed, I am getting too old for this shit. It's supposed to be me saying it, by the way. Thank you, Butters, for re-upping your membership. Okay. Excuse me. People are still going on. I literally just cited why PC has less input delay than the other versions, and there's still people in the chat arguing that I'm wrong because they're stupid. I had enough. I've done so much research on this. I know the people who have designed the fucking operating system that make the game have less input delay on PC, and all the pro players are using it. But you're going to argue with me because you watched a Digital Foundry video like other hundreds of thousands of people. Okay, you're an idiot. I don't even know why I address it. I should just ignore the nonsense from idiots. Seriously. I just should. Why am I addressing it? Why am I wasting time? People want to believe what they believe and always say that I'm wrong no matter what. Despite whatever knowledge I have or whatever, I'm the idiot, right? I'm the one who knows nothing. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're absolutely right. Everything I've ever said was wrong. You're correct. So here, you live in your bubble of people who think I'm a moron, and I'll continue to be over here in fucking reality where I know what I'm talking about when it comes to fighting games. How about that? Okay, I've had enough. GT, you're gone. You're a moron. I'm just not addressing your nonsense anymore. I literally just twice explained why you're wrong, and you're ignoring what I'm saying, so you're not coming back. Okay. Why do I waste time? I don't know. I don't know. You can't speak reason to someone who doesn't want to listen to reason. You can't. There was no reasoning. I literally just explained to the person twice why they're wrong. They completely ignored what I said twice and kept saying about the Digital Foundry video. So I'm not going to listen to more moronic people anymore. I'm just not going to entertain it. I'm not. Okay? There's no point in entertaining nonsense from people who are uneducated but insist that they're right about something. They don't want to have an open mind and listen to other takes. They just want to listen to what they believe, and it's their way or the highway, and those people you don't have to entertain ever again. You just ignore those people. I know. I used to be one of them, right? I used to be one of them. But what it is, no matter what I do, I'm wrong in these people's minds. That's how they are. No matter what Phil says, he's got to be wrong in some way. There's got to be some corroborating evidence to prove. If I said right now, okay, that the light behind me is green, there's a ton of people who will come out and immediately say I'm wrong and find ways to prove that this light behind me is not green, despite the fact it blatantly is green. Okay? So, you know, but that's how it is. That's just my life at this point with these people on the internet. Have I ever seen a penguin in real life? Indeed, I have, actually. All right? I have seen, I've seen, many penguins at zoos and stuff, and they're very cute. I love penguins. I've never seen a 3-foot-tall emperor penguin. No. I've seen much smaller penguins. At the zoo that they have out here in Seattle, there's a whole big penguin area that's really neat. Really, really neat. All right. So, guys, we got a few minutes left extra. If anyone wants to ask a question, all right, tag me in the chat. If anyone contributes, I'll give you a shout out. Please remember the ways you can support the stream today: liking it, super chats, and gift memberships, tips, all appreciated. Thanks to those who already have supported in some capacity here. All right, Jade, sounds good. I'll see you around if you don't pass out. I have never pet a fox. No, I've never done that before. Mr. Mac, I literally just said that I'm going to be doing leftovers for dinner today. I just said that, did I not? So, of course I have leftovers. I just said I did. Indeed. How do you request videos for the reaction channel? Okay, I have a channel called DSP Reacts. It's my sister channel. You can find it at youtube.com/@DSP Reacts. Every week I do a show called DSP versus the Internet, where for 3 or more hours I watch videos that the members have suggested. The way it works is every Sunday night, after all my content has ended, on the members area of the channel, I post up 3 threads. One for Ultra members, Super members, Standard members. Ultra members suggest a video, and it's guaranteed to be watched that week, coming up. Super members get to ask a question for Q&A during the show. Standard members get to suggest 2 videos a week, and those videos go into a randomized playlist. So if you're an Ultra member, the highest level supporter, we're going to watch your video no matter what, as long as it abides by YouTube's rules, because sometimes they don't. For example, someone last week put up an adults-only video. We can't watch that on the stream. The stream will get shut down. So you have to be in the confines of what YouTube allows. But those are guaranteed. And then Standard members get a playlist that I make. I throw all the Standard member suggestions in there. Usually there's more than 50. And then I just hit the shuffle button. And YouTube randomizes the playlist and chooses what order we're going to watch the videos. And that's how we watch those. So it's not a guarantee your video gets watched every week. You get the equal opportunity as everyone else who's a channel member to get your video watched in that particular playlist. So how do you nominate videos? You got to be a member. And you have to take a look at the members tab on the main channel page of DSP Reacts. Right now, the threads exist for next week's show for both Standard, Super, and Ultra members. And that's how you post up. I hope that that made sense and was concise enough to be matter-of-fact explanation and you're not confused. No, I've not seen the Flash movie yet. I am probably going to watch it sometime in September. Dab hands, I'm going to play Starfield like I play every Bethesda game. No different. We play it, we explore, we do story, we look for missions, and we just stumble upon things. That's the thing about most of these open world Bethesda games is if it's well designed, there's so much going on. You're always stumbling into a new area, finding new content to do, and you just play what you find and what you enjoy. We might not do every mission. We may do every mission. We may not do every follower. We may do missions for every follower. I don't know. I don't even know what to expect. We're just going to play it and enjoy it. I'm certainly not sitting here focusing exclusively on what's my plan for this game. Let me create a giant outline of how I'm going to cover it. No. We're just going to play the game and have fun with it, just like everything else. Okay. Did you? Dr. Oink says he tipped again. I don't have a notification for it yet, Dr. Oink. When it shows up, I will I'll give you your shout out. It's not here yet. Maybe I'll check it in a minute manually. I always said this about video games. My mentality is I'm going into it with an open mind, all right? And I'm going to enjoy and explore as much as I can. But I never go into a video game with a bunch of preconceived notions. I try not to go into it with a bunch of pre-studied knowledge. I feel like people who do that, you go into a video game with everything already planned, you've already ruined half the experience. Because now you have all these expectations, and what if the game doesn't live up to those expectations? Or what if the game's different from what you thought? Now I'm disappointed. Why did you create that expectation to begin with? Just enjoy the game for what it is when it comes out and play it. Why are you spending 20 hours researching the game and then going into it and saying, wow, this sucks? Well, it doesn't suck. It's just you thought it was something else because you don't enjoy the game as much as you would because you spoiled it for yourself. You already know all the big plot twists. You know about the number of followers, the characters, and everything. I don't like that at all. You know what I'm saying? I think that everything should be left to just have an honest first-time experience and reaction rather than I knew everything about the game before I even booted it. Like, that's ridiculous. I never do that. Sarah asked, do you feel you get influenced by your audience being negative or not supporting a game? Of course. How could I possibly be an internet content creator that's not influenced by my audience? Right? Again, you want to know when that was? Back before I was a streamer, interactive streamer. Pre-2017, I didn't let anything affect me because I wasn't listening to anyone. I was just completely shut off from any feedback. There was a stream chat that I ignored, and my moderators would moderate it, but I wouldn't even pay attention to the stream chat. It was as if I was sitting here playing a game by myself, right? And then in 2017, I changed all of that. I became an interactive content creator. I became someone who cared about your feedback and constant discussion, you know, telling me what you think, supporting those streams and everything. It all changed, you know, for the better, in my opinion. I feel like this content is much better today being interactive, but how on earth would I isolate myself from feedback? Like, for example, Armored Core. Here I am playing the game. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm going to the stream chat. And half the people in the stream chat are like, wow, this game's nothing like Dark Souls. It's boring. It's like, what? Because it's not ultra difficult so far like Dark Souls. Immediately the game is boring to them. Like, what kind of a mentality is that? I just don't get that. But of course, that's going to influence me. That's my audience, you know? Some people have outright said that. It's a shame that I don't seem to have complete freedom in the games that I play because I am reliant on an audience to react in a positive way. I am. If my audience in general hates what I'm doing, then I'm doing the wrong thing because I'm making content for an audience. I'm not just making it for me. This is not Darkside Phil's personal hobby gameplay channel. This is DSPGaming, a public business that is meant to make content that entertains people, and in turn they support it, and that's how I make a living. It's definitely different, you see? Yes, MK1 Story is the first thing I'm actually doing in MK1 when it comes out. Absolutely. Yeah, I still don't have anything here. Dr. Oink, I guess I'll check manually. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's screwed up or something. Let's see here. It might be my email is delayed on my laptop. Hold on. I think my email is screwed up on my laptop. Let me try something. Oh, never mind. I'm looking at the wrong thing here. My fault. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm being stupid. But no. Yeah, for some reason, PayPal isn't sending me out the message about your second tip. There's nothing going wrong. I'm just being stupid. I didn't look in the right place. It's my fault. So your second tip is a $2 tip, right? Random question on Starfield. What kind of character do you feel like you plan on doing? Plan on being an asshole, a good guy, neutral, not speaking, protagonist? Again, I literally just finished talking about this. Okay? I don't pre-plan anything on purpose. That way, when I play a game, it is literally a first-time, honest reaction to everything going on in the game, and I'm not too focused on preconceived notions. I don't plan anything out ahead of time. That way, it's honest and free-flowing, and it's in the groove of the live stream and everything. Maybe I'll feel like an asshole, or feel like being an asshole if something in the game is happening that makes me want to be an asshole, right? I don't know. I've done that in some games. A lot of the times I just kind of be judging on the situation, what's going on, right? It all depends. But yeah, I don't necessarily go one way or the other. We'll see what happens starting on Friday. Again, I'm not giving it too much thought because that way it'll be a more honest take on Friday when I play the game for the first time. Okay. All right. Ladies and gents, thank you for watching the Level 1 podcast. Definitely some interesting discussions today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I also hope that we make great progress in GTA 5 and also hopefully some good progress tonight in Street Fighter. And what I would like to do is say thank you all for a great summer. We are winding down very soon. August will be over. September will be here. Things will be renewed and refreshed, and we'll be in the midst of the busy gaming season before you know it. Thank you for being an awesome group of viewers and supporters this summer. I really appreciated it. I'll see you all tomorrow to let you know how my progress went with everything today. Peace out and see you then.